Hi, everybody. My name is Shoshanna Gross. I am with the Ohio Restaurant Association, and this is our Daily Dose, quick webinar podcast that we've been doing. Today, I'm here with Todd Bowen, our Managing Director of External and Government Affairs. Did I get that all correct, Todd?
That's close enough.
It's a mouthful of a title. Even though he's my supervisor, I'm not sure what he does. So many things. Today, we're going to talk about a number of items that are on our website that are great resources for you as you get started. We're going to talk a little bit about the Restaurant Relief Fund, and we're going to talk about some great efforts that are happening here in Columbus. So, Todd, as we get started, what are a couple of resources that folks can look for on our website?
Yeah, thanks, Shoshana. If you've been following us on our Daily Dose, Daily Memo, and our webinars, you certainly know that we are very committed to making sure that we have the best resources for restaurant owners and operators on our website. And obviously, with the announcement of a May 15th for patio and a May 21st for dine-in reopening, that resources to help restaurateurs get ready to reopen is number one. So on our website, one of the documents that we have posted is the Responsible Restart Ohio two-pager on what are the mandatory and recommended best practices from the state of Ohio that are sector specific to bars and restaurants. So what I would really suggest that you do, go to either our website or the coronavirus.ohio.gov website, print that out, print enough for all of your team, read it thoroughly, talk through every point on this with your team, write down what your plan is, and then connect with your local health department. It's always a great idea to have a strong relationship with your local health department, and reaching out to them initially and to just make sure that they know that you're thinking very carefully about this will go a long way when you're ready to fully reopen. Another thing that we have on our website that it's up, and we're going to continue to develop this even more fully, is a PPE resource list, so that those facial coverings, hand sanitizer, the floor markings, that we'll just have some resources on there where you will be able to find those.
Yeah, so we've been working really hard with the state and with the local health departments to create resources and to weigh in on resources that we really think will help restaurants get going again. And one of the things that we've been doing is gathering those PPE resources for folks. We know that's been a tricky thing sometimes to get a hold of. So we're building that currently. So keep on checking back, and hopefully we'll have additional resources for you, every day as much as possible. Yeah.
One thing I would add to that is, if you have found a great resource, let us know, and we'll make sure that other restaurateurs, because we know restaurateurs are great about sharing information. So if you found a great resource, let us know about that as well.
Yeah, we want this to be a group effort, definitely. So speaking of group efforts, we have been working at the ORA on creating a restaurant promise. This is as much for restaurants as it is for consumers. Is that right, Todd?
Absolutely. So the idea behind the Ohio Restaurant Promise is obviously being allowed to reopen, and knowing what the rules are is really just the first part. The second part is, as you begin to welcome your customers and you want to make sure that they know everything that you're doing to keep them safe, and also that they know that there's a part that they can play in keeping both their fellow customers and their employees safe. And to that end, we put together a document that we're calling the Ohio Restaurant Promise, and you'll find this both highlighted on our ORA webpage, but we have a specific Restaurant Promise webpage. So what we're asking restaurateurs to do is go to that website, read through the promise, say, hey, those are, and we've been very careful to make sure that the guidelines we put in there very much match up with the state guidelines. We worked really hard this weekend to triple check all of that. So then once you've read through that, say, yes, I can agree to that promise. Number two, review this carefully with your staff so that they know what the parts of the promise are. Then you would print that first page and actually post it so that when your customers come in, they will know that you're participating in the Ohio Restaurant Promise and keeping them safe, and also telling them what they can do to help keep customers safe. Then link to our Promise website, and then let us know that you're participating in the Ohio Restaurant Promise. The Lieutenant Governor referenced this when they were even announcing the dates for restaurants, and so it's a vested interest that we all have in making sure that customers know that we're doing this right, and that our elected officials know that we're doing this right, and we're committed to helping you have the resources to do it right. So that would be a strong thing for you to check out in the next day.
Yeah. So we want to plan for it, and then we want to communicate it to our staff, and we want to communicate it as much as we can to our customers and our guests that are coming through the door. So we have ways for you to do that on social media. We have ways for you to do that in writing and visually. And I would say keep checking back. We're hopeful to have some great signage coming out soon as well. So just keeping the conversation going with guests and employees and restaurant owners is really important right now. And so we are going to continue to communicate with you guys as much as we can through our education. And so we have a couple of great webinar options this week as well. Todd, do you want to tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, absolutely, Shoshanna. So the two webinars that we've got this weekend are this week. Tomorrow, John Barker, our president and CEO, will be on a webinar with Sean Kennedy, who is the Director of Public Affairs for the National Restaurant Association. And this is actually a webinar that's going to be nationally. We're doing it in conjunction with our partner, Washington Prime Group. And this will really be focused on federal issues, and we'll be talking about the Restaurant Recovery Act, the CARES Act, the Paycheck Protection Program, and kind of where those are now and some of the things that we'll be pushing for. So we are while focused on reopening here in Ohio, we have never stopped pushing on some federal relief and some ways that we can hopefully make changes to that. So this will be a good way to catch up on that. And then on Thursday, with our partner Advance Ohio, we're going to be focusing specifically on some ways that you can begin to promote your reopening and promote the safe things that you're doing toward reopening. And this one is really focused on some ways to do that effectively through social media. So make sure you tune in for that on Thursday.
Yeah, and that one on Thursday, we're going to focus on, even if you don't ever do social media, how to really get started from the basics, but it's also going to be great for folks who have a robust social media campaign already.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, Shoshanna, I know we always like to talk about the Restaurant Relief Fund. So if you'd touch briefly on the Restaurant Relief Fund and why that remains important even now.
Yeah, so the Restaurant Relief Fund, as you know, is our employee relief fund for people who've been affected by COVID-19, who've lost work or otherwise are in need of support. And donations can be made there to Ohio Restaurants Relief.org. We're still collecting donations for the Restaurant Relief Fund because even though restaurants are reopening and getting started serving out of their dining rooms again, we know that they're not going to be at full capacity, and we know that they're not going to be inviting all of their employees back to work because they just they're not operating at the levels that they were operating at before. And so people are still really in need of support right now. So we're going to continue to collect donations. We're going to continue to be sending out grants as much as we can for as long as we can. And like I said at the beginning of this, we do have a couple of great organizations statewide that are also providing different kinds of relief. And one of them is right here in Columbus called Service. So Todd, do you want to tell us a little bit more about Service?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we've talked about continuously through this whole process is how great restaurateurs are about supporting each other and supporting the people in their community. And we certainly have appreciated the support we've gotten for the Restaurant Relief Fund, but it's also great to know that we are not the only organization out there trying to meet the needs. And one great one that's specifically here in Columbus is called Service, and their website is servicerelief.org. and they are specifically focused on restaurateurs coming together and helping feed those in the restaurant community who are in need. And they've done a really great job. They provide amazing meals. They are an amazing team. And they provide not just the meals, but kind of that sense of coming together and of community. So definitely check out their website. And if you are someone in need in Columbus, know that that's there for you. And the other thing that I would say about their team, if you are interested in helping or learning more about them, maybe I know some other cities are doing things, but they are great sharers of their information. So certainly check them out on their website. They have their team members listed on there, and I know they'd be very glad to let you know what they've learned and how maybe you could do that in your own city. So
yeah,
make sure you
it's
check
such
that
a
out.
great example of restaurateurs coming together to help each other out in this time of great need.
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
Thank you, Shoshanna, for today's Daily Dose, and we look forward to the rest of the week, and look out for our daily memo tomorrow and the webinars coming up on Tuesday and Thursday.
Great. Thanks, Todd.